Afternoon, peeps. Good afternoon, everyone. All right, shall we have a look and see what else is out there in boxing world? Clearly, Khan and Brook have dominated the boxing headlines for the last couple of weeks, and rightly so. It's a big fight. But there is other news as well that we can quickly go over. You know how big Khan Brook is when, think about this, in the last week, we haven't heard anything about Dillian Whyte, Tyson Fury, AJ, Usyk, nothing. Like, no one's talking about it. That's how big Khan Brook is. Because we've been talking about Dillian Whyte and Tyson Fury for months. And AJ and his trainer and Usyk for months. This couple of weeks, zero, nothing, no one cares. That's how big Khan Brook is. All right, what's this one? Gervonta Davis' trainer is eager for Lomachenko's showdown. We waiting on that fight. You waiting now, are we? It's all about timing, isn't it? They know what they're doing. Gervonta Davis would not have taken this fight. Oh, no. Let me rephrase that. Gervonta Davis's team wouldn't have taken this fight a couple of years ago. Now, with Loma, still very good, but not at his best anymore. Like, even me as a Loma fan would admit to this not being the same Loma of 2-3 years ago. Now they want it. Look, we'll see. Lomachenko's got, it looks like, the Kambosos fight in June. The problem is, there is a rematch clause in that. So, unless he wins spectacularly, where there's no point of a rematch, then he will fight Kambosos again. So that pretty much rules him out for the whole of 2022. So if Gervonta Davis' trainer is talking about a fight with Loma, he's really looking at sometime in 2023, which I know sounds crazy. Bear in mind, we're only in February of 2022, but yeah, that's what it looks like, which is a bit crazy, doesn't it? What really should happen is Gervonta Davis' trainer is to say, we are eager for the Devin Haney fight. That's what really should happen. Devin Haney, it looks like, won't get the Kambosos fight, so he needs a proper fight. Like, you're the champion now. Come on, you're the WBC lightweight champion. Have a proper fight. And that proper fight is Gervonta Davis. That's a big fight in America. Or am I wrong? Let me know, the American viewers. Is that not a big fight? That's the fight now where everyone should be trying to make. But it's going to be almost impossible because, that team, especially Leonard Ellaby, absolutely despises Eddie Hearn. Despises him. So, I don't know, man. I think everyone has to put their egos to the side and make what's best for boxing. And right now, a Gervonta Davis-Devin Haney showdown, especially if it is Kambosos versus Lomachenko, is fantastic. It's a great fight. And then the winners fight each other. But this is boxing, so it certainly won't happen. A bit here about Kell Brook, got to read it. I never thought Amir Khan would take this fight, but it's better late than never. What was interesting? When they did the gloves are off, Amir Khan, again, very, very confident, said to Kell Brook, what, did you think I was scared of you? And Kell admittedly said, no, I didn't think you were scared of me, but you didn't want the fight. Because, a domestic dust-up, you lose a domestic dust-up, it does haunt and stay with you. It stays with you for years. I've never thought Amir Khan was scared. Look, you can't be scared of Kell and then fight Canelo and Terence Crawford and all the other people that he's fought. But there is no shame in losing to Terence Crawford, to Canelo and whoever else. There's a big, big shame in losing to Kell Brook because it's a fight that you've said you could easily win. So I think Amir, it's more the egos that didn't want to let this fight happen. But look, we're here now. Both of these guys are going to get it on Saturday. Remember, we are doing the live watch along. We'll start at 9 o'clock. It is a 10:30 ring walk, so we'll start at 9 o'clock. Team Tszyu have said if Castano is out, we'll happily step in and take the Charlo fight. Castano is out of that fight. I think it was announced yesterday that he's not. So the fight was scheduled for March. I think they're either waiting and trying to push it back to June. But Tim Tszyu, who I think is mandatory for one of Charlo's belts, is like, well, 1 second, we want it. We want to step in and take the fight. If I'm Charlo, would I fight Tim Tszyu? Yeah, why not? I'd fight Tim Tszyu. Tim Tszyu, I think, needs a big fight in America. He's done some really good stuff in Australia, but I think it's time he steps his toes into the American waters. That's where all the best 154-pound fighters are. He's not a big enough draw for the big names to want to go over and fight him. So I don't think Charlo will take it. I think Charlo will wait and fight Castano. There is I think he needs to fight Castano. A lot of people thought he lost that fight. I thought he was lucky to get a draw. I thought he lost it by a couple of rounds. So I think he needs to kind of prove to people, everyone out there, that no, it was just a bad day at the office. Let's show you what I can do when I'm on my A game. So I think he's going to wait it out, and then I think he'll fight Castano in June or July. Talking about big fights, and it doesn't get much bigger than Canelo, does it? There's been a lot of talk recently about who Canelo will fight in May and September. That's his 2 dates. That's what he likes to stick to. Although I think we've seen in the last sort of 2 years, Canelo will have 3 or 4 fights a year. But now it doesn't look like he's going to have 2 fights in 2022. Now, the play was Dazn were offering him Bivol in May and then a Gennady Golovkin trilogy in September. Obviously, Golovkin's got to get past Murata, which isn't going to be easy, but he should get past Murata. PBC were like, no, 1 second. We'll offer and match what Dazn are paying you, which we believe is around $80 to $100 million. So you're talking $40 to $50 million a fight, by the way, which is incredible. We'll offer you, and the fights we're going to offer you are Charlo in May and Benavidez in September. I've seen the polls that people put online, like what's better, Charlo Benavidez or Bivol Golovkin. Now, Bivol Golovkin has shaded it just, but it's very, very close. I think the last poll I saw was 54% Bivol Golovkin and 46% Charlo Benavidez. I've always said that what I would love to see is almost a single fight deal. I mean, look, for Dazn and for me, it's fantastic because fingers crossed I can be out there watching one of these fights. But I do think it makes more sense for him to fight Bivol. I think that's a fantastic fight, Dmitry Bivol, 175 pounds, unbeaten, great fight. Like, honestly, I think it's going to be, I think, Canelo's hardest fight in years. In years, I really do believe that. But then I would like to see, and I don't see why it can't happen, Benavidez versus Charlo. Why can't that happen? Why Charlo can't step? Charlo wants a big fight. Go up to 168, take on Benavidez. Winner of that fights Canelo in September. But it looks like Canelo will sign a 2-fight deal. Look, I don't mind the Golovkin trilogy, but I do really need to see how Golovkin looks against Murata. The problem is, if Canelo does sign a 2-fight deal, and we are led to believe that he's going to do that, what if GGG looks just shit against Murata? What if it is GGG like it was against Derevyanchenko, where he's almost hanging on for dear life at times? What if it's that? Then it doesn't, it's a Canelo GGG trilogy is very, very difficult to sell. It's almost, it will still do numbers, but it's a very, very difficult sell. And if you're paying Canelo almost 50 million to fight that version of GGG, then I don't know how you get that money back in sign-ups. I know Canelo always will do good sign-ups, but I don't know if he's going to do enough to warrant getting paid that. So it seems to me a 1-fight deal makes more sense. It does. It does mean that GGG misses out, but I do think people would prefer to see the winner of Benavidez Charlo face Canelo than at this stage. Than at this stage GGG face Canelo. But look, either way, Canelo's doing amazing things. He's clearly wanted by everyone. And again, I've always said this, as good as you can be as a boxer, as good as you can be a brilliant boxer. If you do not have options, then means nothing. And look, they've chucked at Canelo 4 options. I mean, they've even forgot about Makabu. That's almost sort of vanished out there. He's not going to fight Makabu anymore. But look at the options he's got. Bivol, Golovkin, Benavidez, Charlo. I mean, you look at that, 3 of those guys unbeaten. Golovkin, a great, only lost once. And that was quite semi-controversial against Canelo. That's what Canelo's fighting. So there's a lot of people like, oh, Canelo's not taking the right fights. He's fighting unbeaten fighters. Dmitry Bivol's unbeaten. Benavidez unbeaten. Charlo unbeaten. Luckily unbeaten. I thought he lost the fight. But Charlo unbeaten. It's incredible. But yeah, big money for Canelo. Crazy money. But that's it. He's that kind of draw, right? He's that kind of draw. What else have we got here, peeps? Sorry. You know what I think? I'm still a bit jet lagged. I still don't think I've recovered. It's going to take a long time. Josh Taylor and Carl Froch. No surprise here, Carl Froch. Back Kell Brook to overcome Amir Khan. Yeah, no surprise that Thingy's doing that. Carl Froch, him and Amir Khan have hated each other for years. Josh Taylor, we've got to do a video for Josh. Obviously, he's got Jack Catterall coming up next week. Sky, it'll be interesting to see what the Sky Sports machine do with this one. Obviously, Josh is with Top Rank, but you know this is going to be on a Sky Sports platform and show, so it'll be interesting to see how big they go on this. They're not going to be. It's not going to go as big as they've done and the money they've spent on promoting Amir Khan and Kell Brook, because Josh Taylor, Jack Catterall's not on pay-per-view, but they are going to go big regardless. I'm going to do a video actually. I might do it straight after this about Josh Taylor, because I think the next fight for Josh Taylor should be Terence Crawford. So it's a bit of a big shout because he's not fought at 147, and you don't go straight up and fight, I think, the best 147 pounder out there. But there aren't many options for Josh really at 140 now. You think of the options that were there, they're not really there. Like Mikey Garcia was an option. Gervonta Davis was chirping. He's gone back down to 135. Regis Prograis fighting Tyron McKenna. I mean, you don't fight Tyron McKenna and then get a rematch. So there aren't that many options. He's not going to fight Sandor Martin, who beat Mikey Garcia. So you go up, and then when you go up, if you look at Terence Crawford's side of things, what's Terence Crawford doing? So I think it could be a fight that happens over here as well. So look, we'll talk about that in a minute. The WBC have made a union belt for Tyson Fury versus Dillian Whyte. Throw that shizzle in the bin. Nonsense, union belt. Who cares about that kind of nonsense? Anything else before we wrap? Not much here, you know. Not much. A bit here about Spence Ugas, the undercard. Isaac Cruz is going to face Yuriorkis Gamboa. Gamboa still gets the fights, doesn't he? Win or lose, he's always in. He always gets an opportunity. Always gets an opportunity, Gamboa. From what I saw of Isaac Cruz, and look, Gamboa still can do something for a few rounds. And by the way, still is dangerous. But from what I'm sure about, saw so with Isaac Cruz versus Gervonta Davis, Isaac Cruz is winning that one. All right, guys, I think we are done. Oh, actually, last one. Did you see the reported numbers? I don't know what I was expecting, actually, but did you see the reported pay-per-view numbers for Thurman versus Barrios? Awful. Like, there was a few people reporting that it done like 45,000 buys. 45,000 buys. That's bad. I mean, I always knew it was going to do disappointing just because, well, there's a couple of things. Thurman has been out for 2.5 years. I don't know the interest in Thurman. He's fighting someone coming off a loss in Barrios, who's not really a big name himself. But I think the biggest problem was the pay-per-view price. I think it was, what, $70 or something. He's paying for that. It should have been at $40. It should have been at, a couple of weeks before was Ortiz versus Martin, which was at $40. It should have been at that. Like, try and entice people. I think this is now a bit of a problem for Thurman going forward. Again, it's not necessarily his fault, but when he goes to the negotiating table and wanting to fight the Spence Ugas winner, he is going to be lowball, because they're going to look at that number and say, we ain't giving you shit. We ain't giving you shit. Peace.